I recently came across a post by Michael Huff that got me thinking. I'll simply read it to you from my notes. It says, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. And it got me thinking, how do we break this cycle and simply raise strong men who would themselves raise strong men instead of raising weak men, especially unconsciously, unintentionally. And that's why today we'll be discussing how to raise resilient children. What is resilience? I remember when I told my daughters about resilience, I simply told them that it's your ability to bounce back from difficulties. But today, I think I'll just add a bit of nuance to that and say resilience is the ability to adapt well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or significant sources of stress. It is about bouncing back from difficult experiences and developing the mental and emotional strength to face future challenges. Resilient individuals don't just recover from setbacks, they often emerge stronger and more capable of handling life's up and downs. It's not just important, I think it has become very compulsory to make resilience a key skill our children must learn before they leave our nests, because times definitely will get tougher, and I'm very well aware that a lot of us know the quotes that tough times don't last, but tough people do. But it's sad to say that today we're raising children who we are spoiling or pampering because we want to give them what we did not have instead of teaching them what we did not know. We are helicopter parents hovering around them, trying to save them from the very same things that are meant to build resilience and toughness in them. We're trying to make sure that they do not go through the pain or the traumatic experiences we went through. And I know this may feel somehow for a lot of people, but can I dare to say that that trauma you went through shaped you and gave you this toughness that you have right now? Yeah, it may have been painful in real time. Of course, it is hurtful. Of course, it may have negatively impacted you, but your overcoming it is also a plus. Yes, could it be that it happened so that you will now be someone who was hurt by something, who knows how it felt or what it feels like to be hurt by it, and who is able to now walk people through it? Because experience definitely is the best teacher, right? What if other people could learn from your own experiences, from your experiences, instead of having some of theirs? So in order to maybe speak to other people's experiences, you must have been through it yourself. I know. A male gynecologist has never had a child and is telling you how to maybe bear or endure labor pains. Those are, he may not have experiential knowledge, but at least he has been schooled enough to maybe walk you through that. That's an exemption to what we're talking about. Let's focus on what indeed we're talking about, right? So at the end of the day, if we shield them from these things, if we protect them from the challenges that should make them tougher, the bruises on the football pitch, the punches they would get, the disappointments, the setbacks and everything, if we keep shielding them from that, how will they be tough? How will they build resilience? How will they have the grit that we have today? No wonder a lot of rich folks have children who have practically everything handed down to them or done for them, and then at the end of the day they get so comfortable and they do not build enough skills to sustain the family's wealth, and you find out that the children of such self-made, maybe millionaires or billionaires, end up raising children who now lose it all and then become poor themselves, and then the cycle of poverty continues. Now, in order to be able to pass on generational wealth, you must also pass on the prerequisite skills to sustain them. You see, Myron Golden talked about going through challenges on your way to success, because they prepare you for when you get to where you're going to, because the skills you learn on your way to where you're going to, from all the pitfalls and all the shortfalls and the the challenges you had, prepare you to be able to stay there when you get there. So you see, when you're protecting your children from going through tough times. I was so hungry and I was a child, so I'll make sure that there's food. You are shielding them from the things that will prepare them to stay there when they get there. Who is a resilient child? A resilient child is one who can navigate challenges, adapt to change, and manage emotional setbacks in a healthy way. These children may experience stress, disappointment, or failure, but they find ways to cope with these emotions and keep moving forward. They don't shy away from difficulties, but learn from them and build the inner strength needed to thrive even under pressure. We're not saying that life, we will have to maybe give them things that they cannot endure, but we should also understand that the mere fact that they're going through whatever it is they're going through is proof that they can do it, right? Because God will never put more in us than we can bear, correct? So your child is struggling to tie their shoelaces. It starts from the very, very basic stuff, struggling to put on their headbands correctly, struggling to maybe get a bottle of water, struggling to do the very, very basic tasks. Guess what? Instead of trying to bail them out, sit by them, encourage them to keep trying. They'll fail at it, they'll throw tantrums, they'll get frustrated, they'll even maybe loathe you for not jumping into their rescue. But trust me, you are building grit in them, you're building doggedness, you're building determination, you're building, most importantly, resilience. Now they'll fail, of course, people will hurt them, friends will lie about them or tell on them. Maybe they told a friend a secret and then the friend goes to share it. Does that now mean that they would not? Maybe we should talk about that as social resilience, right? Ability to trust again, even after being betrayed. Aha, your trust has been betrayed before. Okay, I think I should add that to my notes. Wait a minute. Oh, wow, that's so cool. Let's call that social. We said social resilience. I didn't have that before. Social resilience, bouncing back from hurt or betrayal. You see, that your trust has been betrayed does not mean that you won't get back in the arena and be vulnerable again and trust again. A lot of us adults, we have been burned from friends who could not shut up. Like, you tell them something and the next minute you're hearing it somewhere. And so when you're going through tough emotions or difficult situations or life's challenges, you're afraid of sharing again, because what if they tell on you? What if they share your secret? What if they break your confidence, right? So moving on, we're going to be talking about the kinds of resilience. The first one on my list is mental resilience. Mental resilience, the ability to think clearly, stay focused, and problem solve in stressful or challenging situations. I tell my daughters that people get paid for the problems they solve. That's the value they bring. The tougher the problems you're able to solve, the more money you're going to be paid, the more sought after you're going to become. Nobody remembers anybody whose job is just to do the very, 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 very basic thing. They get easily replaceable, right? Easily replaced. They're replaceable. But for you to be indispensable, you have to be the like one out of maybe three, or mostly maybe five, that can do something and do it excellently well. So instead of running away from everyday problems, see them as the playing ground for you to develop the mental toughness or alacrity or stamina to be able to solve future problems. You have a math problem. Yeah, it took it to cry. Oh my God, this is so difficult. I don't know why my teacher always does this. After you have gotten all the emotions out of the way, go back to first principles. Take it back to the easiest. Sometimes the easiest answer, like it's the most basic answer, is the correct answer. So teach them to sit with their problems and try at it, and make sure that they know that you are there to help them when the need arises. It's not like every single time before they even try their hands at it, you have jumped in to their rescue. What you're going to be doing is you're going to show them that it's not okay to try, that it's not okay to fail. Yeah, sometimes when they get the sums wrong and they come back crying, oh mommy, I thought it was easy, and then they start yapping and going, I tried my best, and at the end of the day I still got it wrong. That should be a moment, a teachable moment for you to remind them that yes, sometimes even when you have given it your best shot, even when you have done all you think you could possibly do, or there was to be done, there are still times like this when you still fail. It's still proof or feedback that you tried and that you could have done more or done it better. So that no matter what the challenges they face in the future, they would learn to trust themselves. They would learn to see failure for what it truly is. Another way of not getting it, another way of doing it wrongly, so that they will not do it like that anymore. And then they keep building on their, should I call it failure muscle, right? If we embrace failure for what it truly is, for the beautiful thing that it truly is, you see, we would not resent ourselves or feel disappointed in ourselves for things that happen. You're trying to lose weight, you are failing at it. Is it possible that you're not doing it right? Is it possible that you are doing too much of what you're not supposed to be doing? Is it possible that you're doing too little of what you're supposed to do? Is it possible that at this point you need professional assistance? You will need help from maybe a nutritionist, from maybe a fitness coach. You see, when you sit with the emotions that you're feeling, you'll be able to troubleshoot and be self-aware enough, be sincere enough to tell yourself the truth. I may be doing this wrongly. I may not be doing more much of this, and then probably it's time to call in the cavalry. Let's talk about emotional resilience, the capacity to regulate and manage emotions during tough situations. Emotionally resilient children can experience distress, but don't let those emotions overwhelm them. I'm having a bad day and I feel really, really sad. I can't help it. Tears are rolling down my cheeks, and all I can think about is the hurt that I'm feeling in this moment for whatever reason. Whether it is because I could not get my sums right, whether it is because I was badly hurt at the playground, whether it is because I had a fight in school with my friend and she's not talking to me anymore. For whatever reason, I am sad and I don't know what to do. Sometimes what our kids need is not a lecture. They may just need us to listen to them. Oh, how are you feeling right now? I feel, and then not just listening to them sometimes, but arming them with the language, the dictionary, the lexicon to be able to express how they feel. I remember there was a time my daughter would say, I'm having a headache. Meanwhile, what she was feeling was maybe tiredness or probably hunger, or she has had a long day in school and she's worn out and exhausted. All she wants to do is maybe have dinner and go to bed. So when she tells me she's having a headache, I now ask her, is it psychological? Is it in your head? Is it in your mind? Or is it actually a headache? Okay, I name the emotions I think should be feeling in that time, right? And then ask her to pick. Tell me, walk me through how you're feeling. Do you feel really, really tired? Did you have a long day today? Did something significant happen that's made you feel this way? Most importantly, are you hungry? And then she goes, yes, mommy, I'm hungry. And I'm like, okay, now that you know what you are feeling, we'll be able to take care of it. So I tell her, how about next time when you're feeling this way, now that you know that it is not just headache, or probably a headache as a result of hunger. You have felt those, right? When you're so hungry that your head aches, you're so cranky, you're hungry, right? You're hungry and angry at the same time. So when you feel this emotion next time, can you just tell mommy, I really need to go home right now because I'm hungry? That way, we will not be looking for Panadol or paracetamol or Tylenol to solve a problem that food would have served. So naming their emotions is part of their resilience skill, emotional resilience skills you need to build up. Ability to even share how they are feeling, being vulnerable or brave enough to vulnerable, like open enough, trusting enough, then brave enough to share what they're feeling. It's not it takes a lot of courage to open your mouth to say to someone, I feel sad, or I feel like I'm a failure, because we want to be seen as perfect. We want to be seen as infallible. We want to be seen as strong and tough and dogged and all of that. So when you are vulnerable enough to say, when you open your mouth up to say, I feel a certain way to someone, it must have taken you a lot of courage. We must teach them to be brave enough, to be vulnerable enough, to own their feelings and to be able to share. And while at it, we must also teach them that there's such a thing as a safe space to share your when you go on Facebook, they ask you what's on your mind. I don't think what should happen in that time is go on Facebook to share, I'm feeling really sad right now because my dog is sick and all of that. We must teach them to behave like the royalty that they are and learn about safe spaces. I'm not saying that Facebook is not safe to share, but I'm saying, is it something you want 1,000 or 2,000 of your friends to learn about? Is it what you want to put out there on social media and be mocked with? Is it something you want to share with the world? If it's something private, don't you think that the few people who have earned the right to front row seats in your life should be the ones you're sharing that with? So at the end of the day, when we teach them to confide in people, like I said, that have earned front row seats to their lives, guess what? They'll be able to share with people who can, if need be, criticize them, but constructively, that can counsel them, that can hold space for them, that they can confide in trustingly, and then most importantly, that can just maybe sit down there and listen to them rant. I think I've mentioned it before that there are times my friend calls me and all she wants to do is talk about what she's going through, and I've learned to just listen. It's not a time to preach or lecture or teach or counsel. You should have done it this way. How about this? I just listen, and when she's done, thank you so much, Larry. She hangs up. Sometimes we never talk about it ever again. Or when I notice that, okay, it's that time. I used to have this friend that I'll tell her, welcome to Rant HQ. How the idea of help to you today, Laurie. This world is just, oh yeah. Then she goes on and on and on and on. And then she hangs up, you see. We must teach them that there are people, there can be people who can be around HQ, because you have no idea how therapeutic being able to just call and rant can be, because when you keep those emotions, when you don't talk about them, you're like yeah, sitting on a keg of gunpowder, right? And a small strike can cause an explosion, and that's not what we want. So sometimes it's just okay to teach them. Sometimes it's okay to talk to people about how we're feeling. And then journaling can be an emotional resilience skill that we can teach them to write about how you're feeling, because it's an outlet. So it's a way of letting out those emotions, and then without anybody judging you, because nobody's reading your journals, right? You take your pen to paper and then simply write, I feel frustrated because a lot of people do not listen to me when I'm saying that I'm feeling stressed or tired. Everybody just wants me to be a good boy, and then they send me on errands even when I tell them that I am too tired to go. They feel like I'm lazy or I'm being stubborn headed. Meanwhile, I just want to do my homework and go to bed. You see, when we teach them this skills, means that when people cannot be there, your aunt HQ cannot be there at that time you need them, guess what? They'll be able to journal their feelings and then pour it out on paper. You can also teach them to take a walk. Sometimes you never can tell. You like, we cannot overemphasize how much nature, being in nature, can help soothe us. One thing that helps me, right? Because in all of this, we'll talk about it later, but let me interject that here. Is maybe in talking to a friend, I have this friend, or I we learned it from Simon Sinek, talked about a friend. I watched a video of his where he talked about a friend that was going through a lot in a particular season that he knew nothing about, and she didn't say what she was going through until much later, and then he got wind of it, and he was asking, so you mean you were going through all of that, and when I asked you how you were doing, you simply said fine. She said she didn't want to overwhelm him too, and then she said to carry that person out, and then they made a pact. Whenever you are going through something, can you just send me a message? Have you got 8 minutes? So I have this friend of mine, God bless him. Well, no, it's not my friend. Let me not call him friend. Friend that what? Okay, I have this brother, right? We call it when I need to maybe share something, I just send him a message. Do you have 8 minutes? Now, it doesn't mean that he has to drop everything and come running in. It means that at his earliest convenience, does he have 8 minutes to hold space for me? Probably just listen while I rant, listen while I, okay, maybe sh- sometimes, don't worry, you're not doing this right. You should. He's so blunt, it's so annoying, like very, very annoying. He will tell me, he not be saying you want beat me. I think we need one or three of those in our lives, right? People that can be blunt and tell you, you know what, this thing you're not doing it right, or you see that problem was your fault. And then we need to be humble enough to take it when they tell us, because at the end of the day, they are trying to help us, right? They mean well for us. That's what I mean when I say a safe space. You see, when I get messages about my work, I am not quick to react or even respond, because if you're not on my list of people on my safe space, like Brene said in Daring Greatly from Theodore Roosevelt's quote on Man in the Arena. If you are not in the arena, putting in your blood and sweat and tears, then I have no business listening to what you've got to say. If you are not on my list, Brene Brown goes about with a list in her wallet, and I absolutely loved it when she shared it. She calls them people who have, okay, the right to the front row seat, right? There are a few. So when the criticism is not constructive and is not coming from the people on that list, guess what? She chooses to maybe disregard it or not react to it. Because at the end of the day, if you cannot, maybe if your suggestion cannot lead me to do it better, if it is to castigate my work, when you yourself, you're not even doing anything, you're not being brave enough or daring enough to do what you're anything with your life, then I have no business listening. And then I think it was Mac Manson that said, if you will not take advice from them, why do you allow their criticism get to you? So there must be that person. There must be those people you can take advice from, and then who are permitted, who are given the right or the privilege to criticize our work, and it's only them we should listen to. Enough said about emotional resilience, child. We'll proceed. Next is physical resilience, the ability to recover from physical challenges such as illnesses, injury, or physical exhaustion. Children with physical resilience have the endurance and strength rather to overcome physical obstacles and maintain their health despite setbacks. Your child is supposed to have a math test, and then he took it. He couldn't sit for the test with the other kids or didn't do so well and starts to feel like a failure. Oh my god, I failed. Or has a test to prepare for and the head just aches, and in that moment wants to just give up and maybe, you know what, I don't even want to take this test anymore. I'm too sick to. You see, sometimes we want to swing in and say, you know what, there's even no need after all. It doesn't add up to the whole sum at the end of the term, right? But then when we tell them that it's okay to maybe go to bed and rest for a while and wake up and pick it back up, we're teaching them to be resilient. We tell them to push through it. Okay, can you just maybe bear for a little longer and get this thing done? Because trust me, in the real life, right, when they grow up, let's not sugarcoat this. Have there been times where you were sick and you still had to wake up and get your kids ready for school? Sure, fans. There have been for me. Have there been times where you were sick and you still had to go to work? Of course, it's like every other week in our lives. Have there been times you were exhausted? Oh my God, you woke up and then you still felt like sleeping. You snooze your alarm like 3 times, but yet you had to still drag yourself out of bed. In that instant, if you are not physically resilient, trust me, you won't even want to go to work. There have been times I'll wake up and, oh my God, just want to go back to sleep. And then I just remembered now that song, Tonight I Don't Feel Like Doing Anything. I just want to lie in my bed. You see, there are times like many times like that. Okay, let's not even go into our nursing era, right? Where you have stayed up at night and the baby kept you awake. It was cranky and irritable, probably after a vaccine shot or episodes of annoying colic. And then you have to be in a board meeting at 8. Do you feel like it physically? But do you absolutely have to? Now, if we do not prepare them for those tough times, guess what? When they are faced with those challenges, they'll break down, they'll cry, or they'll run. They'll either fight or flee or freeze. You see, so it's from the very foundation, the very, very littlest of things. From what age? I'm not saying tell them to go and carry a house on their head because you want them to be tough. I'm saying be let's be wise, like use what's appropriate for their age and their learning stage, because sometimes what is appropriate for a 10-year-old may not be appropriate for your 10-year-old, depending on what your learning journey has been over the years. We should also use moderation and caution. That they were able to do it last week does not mean that they are in the physical space or have a physical capacity to do it today. We should raise children according to times and according to seasons. All right, that they were able to do it when they were 4 years old does not mean that they will automatically be able to do it now. A lot of things are affected by time and chance, and so we should factor those in when we're teaching skills. We should always build up on each stage. And then for any reason, if they have forgotten what you taught in maybe stage 3 and you're supposed to proceed to stage 5, you go back and teach it again. You keep trying and trying and trying. And then one day you'll be amazed that they'll say it back to you or they'll act it out to you. And then learning must have taken place. You see, sometimes we teach, but learning does not take place because we have taught them not according to their learning styles or according to the way they learn. We must know how they receive information and how learning happens for them. We must understand the language, the gesticulations, the non-verbal cues that communicates to each child. That child A understands when you blink does not mean that you should blink twice to child B, right? That child C understands when you maybe just cough or clear your throat does not mean that child C will get the same cues. You must understand your your children individually and be able to communicate to them in that manner. So we are teaching physical resilience. Don't judge Mr. A's ability by Mr. B's ability to do stuff. You must come to their level and teach them in where they are, from where they are, rather. You must be able to know them personally. That's why being present as a parent is non-negotiable. You cannot make excuses out of it. You cannot justify it. There's no reason in this world. There's enough for you to replace your presence with them. I'm not saying be there. We've talked about this several times. I'm not saying be there every second of the day. I'm saying be there as much as possible and make sure that while you're there, you are doing with them the things that really count, that matter to them and matter in the grand scheme of things. So sometimes, even when they are tired, you can push them. Eric Thomas always says, "Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done." You can tell them, "I know you're very tired, but can we push it a bit further? Let's get it as close to the finish line as possible, so that when you wake up in the morning, you have very, very little to do." All right, I am being very vulnerable, right? Probably we should say that my name is Larry and I'm a vulnerability student. Hey, Larry. I was having this conversation with a friend the other day. No, she's not my friend, please. First, you're not here and say, Miss Larry said I'm my friend. No, she's not my friend. I was having this conversation with somebody that is always looking for my trouble in life the other day, and I told her that sometimes it's difficult for me as a parent, or lately it's been a struggle for me as a parent, a 21st century parent who's raising her children for the future, to be able to tell the relevance of certain chores in their lives in the grand scheme of things. Now, don't judge me, or feel free to. We talk about chores as things that are very important. They teach executive functioning skills. They can teach them to be physically, mentally, emotionally resilient in this instance, right? For a lot of parents, we find out that when we grew up, we now have this dilemma, the big challenge or struggle of juggling chores in raising a family and working, the whole facade around the work-life balance. And now we get to a point where we now hire our weaknesses, right? So that we can focus on our strengths. We get people who will be able to maybe take care of the home and look after the children while we focus on our life's work, our purpose, or our career, whatever that may be to any of us that's watching. So the question now hits me, if I'm going to hire my weakness, if I'm going to get somebody to do chores, if I'm going to get somebody to be the kid's nanny, if I'm going to get a chef in the future and get a chauffeur later to drive me around, why then do the children need to learn how to do dishes or cook at this stage? Why would I just focus on teaching them, right? Unification, communication, and imagination skills instead of teaching them implementation skills. So it now begs the question of, okay, why do the 1% focus on bigger skills in quotes that they teach the children? Why are they so careful? So the kinds of schools they register or they put their kids in. Schools where they learn about leadership and they learn about striking deals, when they learn about making friends with high profile individuals, right? When they learn about philanthropy. And when I focus on those stuff instead of teaching the kids how to do dishes. That's my dilemma. So when we're talking about resilience and building physical resilience, chores will help, right? But yet, when they grow up, I will now say, instead of doing dishes, pay somebody who can do it. And then we'll talk about perturbance, right? You can pay them, they can use the money for something, and then that's you being great there, right? Because if you do it by yourself, it means that you're keeping the money to yourself, and somebody that you would have helped with the money to do something that would have helped someone with that money, and this cycle goes on and on and on and on, would not get that money because you're doing it yourself. So maybe I'm open to comments, please. Let's talk about this. Let's discuss this in the comments. I would really love constructive conversations about it. Like I said, feel free to judge me. Like, you know, get where it touch me, you know. I'm saying that with all humility because if I'm worried about what you would say or being judged, you see, like I said, I was being vulnerable here. I will not say it out loud. I'll keep it to myself or share with that safe space. I was comfortable with sharing it. But these conversations come up. There are things that we have in our minds that most of us do not dare to say out loud, right? So I am glad I took it upon myself to be the person who would come and say it, who would put words to those difficult rumblings in our heads. So that yes, feel free to judge me if that means that other people will learn, if it means that other people who had similar thoughts would be liberated or get light or direction from me sharing. That said, I don't think it's only chores that will teach them physical resilience. You know, there are a vast array of things that will teach them to be physically resilient. And I think it's part of your assignment to do you a lot of good if you can find those out by yourself. And as you're finding your own, me, I'm finding my own, and I hope later in future we'll meet and take notes, and then by the quality of our children's lives or by the outcomes, we'll know who did what right? All right, moving on. We'll talk on my notes. We have spiritual resilience. Here, I refer to it as the inner strength derived from one's beliefs, values, or sense of purpose. For children, this can mean having a strong sense of hope, faith, or a connection to something greater than themselves, which provides them with the strength to persevere during difficult times. You see, a ship without a sail, of course, is directionless. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of values or beliefs for families, for children. We're currently working on a mini course. Yay! Oh my god. And it's going to unpack a lot for you people, and I'm excited to do this because oh my god, working on it has given me a lot to ponder on, a lot to work on, a new lens to look at a lot of things as a map maker and as a traveler, like I said previously. So when you have values, beliefs that are, for instance, when courage is your value, you see, no matter what you face, you will be tough, you'll be dogged, you'll be determined, you sit with it and see it through to the end. Right? When courage is your value, no matter what they say about friends hurting people, no matter what they say about maids or nannies or strangers being a danger, you'll be daring enough to have help. Because it bothers me that a lot of people shy away from getting help because of the sad tales they have heard from social media or friends or relatives or even loved ones about the people they got and were hurt by. At the end of the day, I'm forced to ask, fire has burned people, yet you still cook with gas. You still cook with fire, right? Many divorces happen every single day, but you are still married, right? Accidents happen every other day, every other second, if I must say, but you still drive around town in your car, right? So why do you now isolate fear to a place where you could actually have help and have a life and then be present and be wholesome enough to raise your children? You see, if courage is a value you hold dear, guess what? You'll be daring to go against whatever anyone is saying, and you say, you know what, I'll get help. And I know that I will be blessed by it. We say we are Christians, but Christ-like. But we selectively pick out the things that we want to emulate God in. When we're told about the story of creation in Genesis, we said, we hear God say, let us make man in our own image and after our likeness. Let us, emphasis on us. We do selective listening. We read what is suit us, what we suit our beliefs. God said, let us make, because he did not do it all by himself. Don't ask me who he did it with. That's a question for another day. Right? Let us make man. He had help. And then he rested on the seventh day. So you keep working. You have the 1 or 6 on your calendar, but you do not have the 7 where you rest. You keep working, you keep burning yourself out, and you give your children the burnt out part of you. Because courage is not a value you hold dear, and as such, you have covered away from getting help because of the sad tales you've been told. Yes, you will get burned personally. Jesus Christ had Judas amongst his 12. I feel like there are braver stories out there that can foil your faith. It's a matter of principle. Don't tell me, don't share with me, don't show me tales of people who do terrible things to people. I don't want to hear it, I don't want to know it, and I don't want to have it. Yes, it's not that I'm sharing for you to be afraid. I just want you to know. I don't want to know. Fear is a default setting. Faith is what we struggle to have. Fear is a default setting. Faith is what we struggle to have. Why should I give you something as important as my faith to mess with? Why will I give you the entire real estate, the full landscape of my mind in all its brilliance for you to mess with the pictures and the conjectures you are giving me in the name of wanting to help me? How about you look for stories of nannies who have done 20 years in a home and helped in raising wholesome children? What happened to sharing those with me? Even if it's just one, share it. It will edify my faith, right? A lot of women would never make it to giving of the awesomeness God has blessed them with because they do not have help enough to be able to veer away from the home front, because fear has kept them bound to the shackles of chores in the name of it's a woman's duty to do A, B, and C. Yet the woman in Proverbs 31 was striving to emulate or be like, had maids that she assigns roles to in the night, so she's able to do what gives her praise in the midst of her, in front of her husband and her children. So I don't know who your role model is, but the women I'm modeling my life after, they are brave people, and courage is a value that I hold dear. So forgive me for not wanting to hear your tale of woes and pity and of people who are failing or things that are going wrong. I'm sorry. I love my life too much to sit in the back seat and be held bound and shackled by fear. If you're not going to help me be where I want to be or go where I want to go, don't stop me. Don't limit me. Don't slow me down. And that's why I value the man in the arena quote a lot. Like, I resonate with it so much. It speaks to me. Because yes, there'll be people who will pour hypo in people's food. Of course, there'll be people who would maybe sleep with people's husbands. But at the end of the day, there are people like Joseph, and those are the kinds that God will bring to me. Because I have faith, and he said, if my faith be as small as a mustard seed, I can tell this mountain, be removed, and it will move. He has said that all good gifts come from God, that he giveth a gift and he added no sorrow. He has said that I and they that the Lord has given me, we are what? We are made for signs and for wonders. He has also said of me that I should not be touched. Touch not my anointed, and do my prophet no harm. So if I know that the footsteps of the righteous are ordered by God, I know that he would order me to pick the people according to the leading of his spirit, and I will get the right fit for my life in that season. Would there be mistakes or mishaps? I'm open to it, but I know that yet in all things, I am more than a conqueror through Christ who loves me. So when I know that about God, and I know about God efficacy, the proof that God is who he is and he cannot change. Not that he will not change. It is not in his DNA. He is unable to, not even if he tried. If I know that about him, and I know that those that know their God will do exploits, why will I allow you feed my mind with what would remove of my faith and of my courage, and then back off from the things I would have done with audacity? I know you love me, but I love me so much that I've made it a principle. Don't tell me. Don't show me. I don't want to have it. I don't want to hear it. Show me success stories. Share the tales of bravery with me, and let's get this done. If not, stay out of my way. Let's not even talk about it. There are some conversations that I won't have with certain people. Not because I don't love them or because they don't love me, because I know that they love me so much that they want to protect me. Hence, the stories. I know that they care about me so much. They don't want me to take that risk. But not taking a risk is risky too. Not daring is a risk in itself. What if it works? That friend of mine I told you was very blunt. He said, Laurie, stop asking yourself, what if it does not work? Stop telling me you are doing it afraid. Do it excited. What if it works? What if it goes viral? What if it goes global? What if this is it? So with that mindset, I dare greatly, knowing that it could be it. And if it is not it, I have learned. No wonder Alex Omozi said, the work works on you more than you work on the work. Shall we proceed, please, Dickens? Next on my list, like we talked about briefly earlier, is social resilience. We talked about it as let's just call it the ability to bounce back from betrayal or hurt. And then it's tied to bravery too. Because yes, the last helpmate you had in the house stole your jewelry, did this or that to you. Jesus fell 3 times. As holy, as anointed as he was, he picked Judas amongst his 12. It wasn't a mistake. I don't think God in his awesome smartness would have made that kind of mistake. I think it was to show us that there will be a time when we would fail to, and that it's okay. Forgive yourself. Throw yourself back in the arena. Dust up and try again. What if the next one will be better? What if the next one is the one? Yeah, you've been hurt so much, my friend. Oh my God, I told her this secret and she told it in front of the class. They made fun of me. It was a mess. I was so embarrassed and I was ashamed and all. And so it's on them. You honored them enough, you elevated them enough to be a confidant, and then they failed at that role. It's on them. Be brave again. Dust it off. Have courage. Is it possible that there were some values you ignored that made you settle for this person? Even if you dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's, the next one may be better. We must teach our children to be socially resilient too. Because trust me, no matter how amazing you are, you need the gift of men. That's social capital. I've been blessed with a team of wonderful people, especially on the Lorry brand today, because of someone who connected me with someone who connected me with someone. Let us stop protecting our children from the things that make them ready for the future. Because if I was living in a bubble, if I was, well, of course, I know I'm a recluse, but I still veer off that tiny cycle or circle of mine sometimes and sit there to interact with people. I'm not saying I'm a socially literate. Should I call it that? I'm selectively social. Yeah. That does not mean that I cannot strike a conversation or sustain it with anyone. I just like to mind my business a lot. And sometimes it means when I go out, I will not talk to anybody. But you already know now. I said it before. Don't judge. You listen, you don't judge, right? Yes, let's say it like that. Don't judge me. But in case you are still tempted, it's okay. It's fine. We'll be all right. So you want them to have, okay, let's talk about this irony, right? You're growing up, you're always locking them indoors. You don't want them to go, you don't want them to get mixed with bad gang. This person always speaking pidgin. I don't want my child here after all this school fees. And then life happens. They're in the streets. They have no street sense. Oh yeah, no, you're not speaking again. I want to ain't it? Instead of speaking pidgin and then it's keke na pep that's supposed to help you there. Because they don't know how to enter keke or use Okada. Guess what? According to Mrs. Tinu, she says you are raising a turkey. Instead of raising an eagle, you're raising a turkey. And then they'll use them for turkey pepper soup. Of course, a grilled turkey with bole. At the end of the day, your children should learn to navigate social settings. We're not saying they should be loud and lousy and obnoxious. We're saying they should be able to talk to people. Stranger danger. It was in the 5th century or whenever in the past that was a thing. They will meet with a lot of strangers daily. You should teach them who is safe to talk to and who is not, because everybody you meet for the first time is a stranger. So if stranger danger is the mantra you sing, I am sorry, you're not preparing them for the future. Every time you go for a networking event, for a social gathering, even in church, the person sitting to your left and to your right is a stranger. So when you tell them not to talk to a stranger, you're raising them in a bubble because they will meet strangers every single day. Train up a child in the way he should go so that when he's old, he will not depart from it. So instead of teaching stranger danger, how about teaching adversity quotient, situational awareness? Teach them to be detectives, to look at their environments, take note of the tiny little nuances that nobody would have noticed. Like Michael Scofield, who would notice on the suit of the general, the shirt he was wearing in his suit, that every other button was white, but one that was black that happened to be a camera. So when you are shutting them down from using the internet or from using screen time and believing that what they need to learn is not on the screen, guess what? There are shows on YouTube that will teach them situational awareness. that will show them that, okay, there was water under this car and that car, who would have committed so and so murder. It teaches them that when they are in a place, something is not right, somebody is not behaving right. It shows them that, okay, this person's composure or demeanor shows that he has something to hide and he may be a dangerous person. Teach them that instead of running away from strangers, there will be security attendants who would be safe to talk to, who may also be a danger even if they are wearing uniforms. How can I tell? That there are shows like Investigators, that your children can watch children like them be detectives. So at the end of the day, your beliefs may actually be why your children will not be resilient. I'm sorry. I've told you there'll be no fluff. I'll not be dishonest. I'm not trying to please you. I don't even want you to like me. If telling you the truth means that you don't like me, I'm sorry. I'm good with it. Since I was saying don't watch TV, how about you teach them how to pick safe shows to watch? Instead of teaching them don't use the internet, how about teaching them media literacy? Don't speak pidgin English. Pidgin English is not broken English. It is a language in and of itself that has nouns and pronouns and parts of speech just like every other language. So there will be places where your child will go to and their inability or lack of pidgin English speaking skills will be the reason why they are in trouble, because who you they form for? If you teach them to be grounded, teach them to be humble, you see, you are preparing them to navigate social situations. If you teach them to serve, to ask how can I help instead of what's in it for me, you're setting up your children for success. My friend FT tells me a lot about Gusi Toby and how they went to Doha together last year and how this young lady was going about every single nook and cranny, every single part of the hotel, looking for how to help. Please, can I help you with your makeup? Can I help you with videos? Can I help you with your reels? Can I help you edit this? A person who's willing to serve, a person who's willing to help will not lack friends, especially in high places. My father always said that no matter how rich a man is, there's something he needs, find it. He may be too busy to stop and buy oranges on his way home or newspapers. There's never such a thing as this person has everything. There's always something someone needs. So teaching them honor will be part of their social resilience skills. I've talked about media literacy. I've talked about situational awareness, ability to make friends and keep friends. You see, we are so terrible as parents that we project our fears and insecurities on our children. Because we do not know how to make friends, our children go out are brave and daring enough to make friends, but we cannot help them sustain those friendships. See, how much is a present for you to buy for your daughter's friend or your son's friend when they're having their birthday? You are teaching them honor as a skill. It's not like you are giving that friend because they absolutely need it or they'll die if they don't have it. You are teaching your child that it's okay to honor. Gifting is it's a language for kings. The gift of a man maketh room for him before kings. It's not just the gift as per talent. What is in your hand? So we carry our parenting disadvantage and it's full blown in our kids' lives. It's there, it's showing, it's glaring. So when you tell me that, my parents did ABC and they will turn out okay, I already know that something is wrong somewhere. As always, this is not to make you feel uncomfortable. I'm not trying to preach perfection here. I'm saying, look at what you are doing. If there's anything you're not doing right, okay, this is a clarion call to do better. Bravo, if you're doing a lot right already. Remember, there would always be something to use, something to refuse, and something to lose in every episode. Don't be so focused on what to refuse and lose that you miss out on what you can use. Focus. Because if focus is a value you hold there, you'll not be distracted by what you should lose or refuse. Should you want to refuse it, there are very polite ways of expressing your refusal too. We've talked about social resilience. Let's now talk about why it is important for your children to be resilient. It will help them navigate life's challenges. There's no need to even hammer on that one. Challenges will come, problem is not the finish. Like every single day, the moment you crush one, another one will come up. I've seen life as a game, game with different steps or ladders or levels. So when you're finished level 1, guess what? Level 2 will come with a different challenge. So I no longer pray for success on different levels. I pray for the courage to be able to conquer the demons that come with each level, because they will come. You want ₦1,000,000, you will get it. And when you have 1,000,000, you will want 10 million, right? It means that 10 million naira worth of troubles will come. So instead of praying for 10 million naira, pray for the courage to be able to fix those problems or challenges when they come. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when and how much they'll be, because they will come. You are single, they're telling you when you get married, you're like, when the children come, there will be struggles, challenges too. You have a son. What if you have a daughter? Hey, there's one. They have to be 2. Oh, Laurie, you have three daughters. How about you had a son? When I have a son, what people will still come and say, just make them 2. Ooh, now you have 3 daughters and 2 sons. How about you make them 3 sons and 3 daughters? Problem is, no, they finish. So choose your poison. So teach them to navigate life challenges, emotional challenges, mental challenges, physical challenges, social, and indeed spiritual. It will boost their self-confidence and self-esteem. Oh my God, how happy are you when you're able to solve a challenge or a problem for yourself? You are excited about it, right? Give them the pleasure, the joy of solving their own problems. Yes, I did it. Of course you did. And stop saying I'm proud of you. They did not do it for you. It's not about you. Don't build their self-confidence around pleasing you. Oh my God, you did it. You should be proud of yourself because they did it for themselves. You are a guardian. Stop feeling too important. I'm very disappointed in you. As what? As who? Grow up. It's not about you. Are you proud? You should be proud. You put in the effort. See, reward them. Praise them, encourage them based on the effort, not the results. Because sometimes they will fail, but at least they tried. Teach them that it's okay to put in the effort and still fail at it. That way, next time they will be encouraged to put in more effort, even if they will not get the results they are going in for the first time. Or to give them the power to stay power. To enhance their mental health. Because it will teach them, resilience will teach them that it's okay to fail, but it's not okay to stay there. It will teach them not to label themselves as failures. I did this. It is not who I am. It will teach them to treat guilt as what I did is wrong. Instead of shame, I am wrong. It will teach them to separate their actions from themselves. Just like the Laurie brand is not me. This video is not who I am. So when you're talking about the video, it's not me you're talking about. I am good with it. That's why I keep saying it. You know, get where it touch me. This video is not me. The entirety of the Laurie brand is not who I am. We are separate entities. So when you're castigating my work, you are not talking about who I am. It helps my mental health, doesn't it? Knowing that when you say, that video was useless, it's not Laurie that was useless. So you know, get where it touched me, right? Amen? It encourages growth mindset. I can do better. Oh my gosh, you put in so much work. And even if you didn't get it right, next time you will do better. This is feedback that you did not do enough, or that you did too much, or that you need help. When you have a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset, believe me, you'll be teachable, and the world will bow every single time to someone who has the ability to grow. I've worked with people as let me call it a manager, and I've worked with people who will tell you outrightly, man, this cannot be done. Then I've worked with people who say, okay, let me see what I can do about it. Guess who I would prefer to work with every single time? Because life will always throw challenges at you. With a fixed mindset, it means that you would cry and cry wolf instead of asking yourself, how else can this be done? My daughters tease me a lot. Mommy always has plan A, B, C, and D. And yes, because if plan A does not work, I am not stuck with you. I not marry you, no vex. We go to plan B. Plan B is not working. Beautiful. C, where are you? C is still not working. D, hello. Can we get you done? That's growth for me. Flexibility, ability to hop from. Yes, A did not work. Oh wow, I will mourn you because it took me time to design you or whatever. But can we go on with B? Because that thing has to be done, and time is not waiting for me, right? 5 minutes ago, we never come back to me. I'll be how old this year? Last year can never come back. I can never have the youth or virility I had last year. So I realized that my current one plan A did not work. Oh, what if somebody's okay? Alex Omozi was talking about a guy who was looking for a job, and he said he had A, B, C, and C skills, and the company wanted something different. What if the company carved out a department specifically for a skill set? And Alex was like, why don't you adapt your skill set to fit the company instead of waiting for the whole company to now haircut something for you? That's what happens every other day. You want the world to play to your whims and caprices instead of bending or adjusting to fit the world. Which is bigger, you or the world? The world that is governed by principles and rules that are bigger than that. If you begin to even learn about your head will spin. Be malleable. Adaptability is one of our characteristics as living things, right? Now, we've talked about what resilience is, who a resilient child is. We've talked about the types of resilience. We've talked about why resilience is important. Let's talk about how to raise resilient kids or build resilience in children. Number one, a monkey sees and monkey does. Monkey sees. Yeah, we already know it's a mantra. We use it every single time in our podcasts, in our episodes, right? So, model resilience. Monkey we see, a monkey we do. Of course, you will chop breakfast. Breakfast in this case is not maybe your husband breaking your heart or something. Of course, there will be heartbreaks here and there. Of course, the biggest heartbreak of all will be that your nanny will leave in December, on the 5th of January, is still not here yet, and on the 10th, children are resuming. You will get another one, because you have to model resilience to your children. And those will be things that you will teach with later. All of you will sit there in the kitchen and cry and then eat peanut butter when you're done, or ice cream, whatever suits you, if you are emotional eaters. But guess what? You will get back in the arena, dust off yourself, and try again. And in that way, you're modeling resilience to your children. Because training a child on the way it should go is not just in telling them do this, it's in showing them how to do it. Allow natural consequences. If you don't wake up early, you will go late to school. Sometimes allow them wake up late. Allow them go late to school. Actions have consequences. I'm sorry for those who would say I'm a wicked mom for this. Like I always say, you not get where it touch me, right? You keep telling the child, don't do this way. Kenny, you're being nice. You're being a nice mommy, and you're saying, don't do it. They'll look in the eye, they'll not ask you, mommy, why? Yeah, why? Okay. And then one day they will not strolling around the roses, the bucket full of posies. Achish, yeah, fall down. That's a great mommy. I fell down. You did not say sorry, me. Tell you sorry that what? Why? Wicked mommy. I agree. Yes, I agree. Because I've been telling you every single day, don't go to that place. Don't do this. And you fell. It reminds me of this story. Oh my god, my sister is gonna hate me for it. But we're growing up, and then we used to use this hurricane lamp. A lot of people who grew up in Nigerian homes in the 90s, you know what I'm talking about. So there's this lamp that has this glass bulb. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have a huge vulnerability hangover after this, but my name is Laurie and I'm a vulnerability student, right? Hi, Laurie. So you know what I'm talking about. Yes, you put the bulb, and after a few days or a day or two, it gets dark from the flames. You remove it carefully and you wash. If I tell you how many of those things I broke, oh my gosh. I'm sorry, mommy, it was not intentional. Because yes, this glass is slippery and it's very, very thin and fragile. Okay, so my younger sister, is very curious. She'll crawl towards the lamp and she wants to touch it. My mom will say, carry her away. We will carry. Should we scream? Don't touch it, it's hot. Every single time that lamp comes out, this child will crawl to it. One day, what did I say? One day, she was crawling towards it. And then we're running to save her again. Mommy said, leave her alone. Till bones that should not learn her lesson. Oh my God, wicked mommy. I know. And then she went, just ring around the roses. And then she touched it. She was screaming. Guess what? It burnt her finger. And from that day on, even when she grew, you tell her to her, you say, that's it that burned my hand. Like, we told her this story. Oh my God. It was terrible. She burnt her hand and yes, it hurt my mom. I could see her face that it really pained her. But that child never went to that lamp ever again. Natural consequence. Please, I'm not saying you should go and allow your child put her finger inside blender or go and use knife to cut their hands. Please. She knew, she made the decision to live with that natural consequence in that time. It's not like she burnt her finger and it was that bad. She just touched it, this tiny baby finger and touched it, and that was it. And of course, my mom is a registered nurse. Do you understand? So it was nothing more than we had just put it on. It wasn't that hot that could scale her or hurt her terribly. Do you understand? She's not. My mom is a wonderful person, right? That said, I'm not saying go and put the child in front of a moving truck and say, when let the car jam you and then you know that car is to jam. Count me out. There are mild, natural consequences that will not scar your children, right? That would not traumatize them. That's what I'm talking about. In listening, in getting defensive or selective in hearing, please be sure that's why I'm putting all the caveats there. Natural consequences could be okay. This water you put on the floor, you did not clean it. 5 minutes later, you fell down. But if the fall is going to lead to a head concussion, you're on your own. Please, natural consequences. I think that should be another assignment. Go and Google it. The next one would be encourage positive self-talk. The way you talk to your children becomes the voice in their head every single day of their lives. A lot of us had to heal from a lot of negative talk as time went on. We had to reparent ourselves and start talking to ourselves the way we wanted to hear. So much so when somebody's not talking to me in a way that I don't accept or don't want to sit with, I already have self-talks to counter. No, I am not perfect. Sometimes some still want to filter through, but we're able to double back and say, you know what? We do not want this in our mind space. Teach them to talk to themselves kindly by talking to themselves kindly, by talking about yourself to yourself. kindly. When I'm around, somebody's always saying, I know even get sense. I can never make it. They start saying negative things about themselves. It tells me a lot of what they would be giving me, because you cannot give what you do not have, right? You cannot love me when you do not love yourself, because how will you know how to love when you have not learned it with yourself? It will be tantamount to hypocrisy, right? Giving me something you do not have to give your own self. So teach them to talk positively to themselves by talking to them positively. You must be mad. You don't have sense. You can never, you're always, life is not that deep. That you took it from your parents does not mean that you cannot shield your children from it. I think it's hard time. You dropped the baggage. My parents did this to me. Yes, it is what they did. What are you going to do about it now? How are you going to behave moving forward to make sure that your children do not suffer where you suffered? Remember, it's no longer enough to say, I want to give them the life that I did not have, or give them the things that I did not have. What did you not know that you ought to teach them now? Begin from today. Unlearn a lot. Relearn so much, and keep learning, because of course you have a new generation of wholesome, well-rounded and healed children to raise. Provide emotional support. Be that safe space. Show them what a safe space is. Mommy, please don't tell daddy about this. Let it not go and be your pillow talk that night. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that if it's life and death, you should not share with your spouse, right? I'm saying that, Dembezuma. Oh my God, I can never, 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 never hate Dembe. Like, I love him to a fault. Dembe is a character from Blacklist. I've watched that TV series a lot of times. Like, Dembe is a loyal friend to Raymond Reddington, right? Despite all the horrible, dangerous, horrendous things Reddington does, Dembe holds space, holds his confidence. And then Elizabeth King, I don't know what their relationship is. Somebody Reddington holds there. Got to a point, Elizabeth wanted to find out the past, Raymond's past, who he was before he became this person, because he had a surgery that made him this Raymond, because the original or the real Raymond Reddington had been dead for a long, long time. So Elizabeth had to how do I put it? Elizabeth had to call the cops to arrest Reddington, because as far as Reddington was going about the street, she wouldn't have been able to dig up on his past without him knowing, because he had always been lying to her about it, and she wanted to know the truth once and for all, because in the process of searching for the truth, her husband, Thomas King, died. Story. So it was Elizabeth that told her sister Jennifer to tell a homeless girl to call the cops. Elizabeth came and told Dembe, of all people. If there's anybody in the world that Reddington said it. Let me paraphrase. He said, "You are the only person in the world that knows everything about me, my strengths, my worsts, and my very best, which means you are my singular best, greatest ally, or my worst or most damning fate, or something like that." Imagine somebody now coming to, do you know that, okay, it was so bad that Raymond Reddington was going to get the lethal injection for all the crimes he had committed on the past, and all, just because of that arrest. He was in prison for 3 months. It was going to, like, everything had been set up for him to be killed and all. And then one call from the president was just giving 48 hours to clear up stuff and all. Watch it by yourself. So at the end of the day, Dembe was now caught between, and he said to Elizabeth, "You want me to keep this secret from Raymond, and you are angry and keeping Raymond's secret from you." And Elizabeth said, "I'm not asking you to keep the secret from him. You are Raymond's secret keeper. I'm asking you to be mine." Got to a point, Dembe could not keep it anymore, and he told Elizabeth, "If you don't tell him, I'll have to tell him. Can you be Dembe, at least for your children? You can keep your children's secrets without telling your spouse, if they need it. And if their life were truly in danger, you can tell them to tell the secrets to your spouse themselves, or you will have to tell them. You must model what it means, what it is like to be a safe space for your children. Because if you do not show them, how will they know? We are meant to help them navigate this world, right? Help them find their way, help them know what to do until they are able to build the skills to do it for themselves. Let us not only tell them what to do, let us also show them how to do it. All right? We must always support them emotionally too. Like I always say, it's not all the time you lecture. Just listen, sit there, hold space for them. Now that they are young, listen to all the rubbish they have to say so that when they are old, they'll trust you enough to tell you the good stuff, right? Because if you do not build the trust for you right now, they will not see you as somebody they should confide in the future. You can validate their emotions or feelings without trying to build them out of the distress. It's part of their emotional resilience training, right? You must promote a growth mindset. It is very, very important. Teach them why it is important. Teach them what it means to have a growth mindset. Teach them how to cultivate it, because it's part of what will help them to be resilient and prepare them for where they are going. Foster strong relationships. Foster strong relationships. We've talked about social resilience. Show them how to build strong network for themselves. Show them how to sustain a relationship for years. Stop hopping from one relationship to the next. 1 minute you are friends with this person, the next you have jumped, the other minute. Is there any friendship of yours that's lasted for 5 years? They are watching, they are seeing you. How do you honor your friends? How do you talk to your friends? What language do you use? What's the quality of your friends, right? Who are your friends? Can your friend give advice to your children? Can your children take advice from your friends? Do you share the same values? You see, your children are looking at these things. Why is this person even your friend in the first place? How are you nurturing your relationship? Do you spend time together? What do you do? What's your conflict resolution like? When you have struggles or issues with your friends, altercations with them, how do you walk through such? Do you have a peace resolution plan, a peacekeeping plan, conflict resolution plan? How do you have difficult conversations with your friends? We're not saying you should come and have them in front of your children, but sometimes they just hear whether they are actively listening or not. If you are friends with someone for 10 years, they may have witnessed an occasion or two or overheard you talking to them on the phone, right? You must foster strong relationships. That way, you're modeling to your children too. And then help them to in nurturing strong relationships. It doesn't cost you much. It's something as small as slime, something as small as erasers. Your child's friend is having a birthday. Teach them. After this, your friend's birthday, yes, mommy, okay, give them this present. Help them, let them take them to a store or shop online for them. Because you are teaching them that it's okay to give. You're teaching them honoring to honor their friends. And that honor it's a language of kings. It's not just in gifting physical gifts. How do they gift their treasure, their talent and their time too? Their friend is having a birthday, a challenge. A friend has to go somewhere. Teach them to share their time too. Remember, you're training up a child in the way it should go. And then you'll be confident. The reason why a lot of parents are afraid when their children have to step out or go to college is because they have not taught them enough. If you are confident in the child you have raised, you'll not be afraid. You will not be scared when they are leaving your home, because you know you have given them the kit or the toolbox to navigate any situation in life. And then you are sure that should they fail, they know that your home is a safe space for them to come back to, and that they are welcome at any time and that you'll always be that guardian angel. You'll always be their cheerleader, and you'll always be in their lives. Beacons, I hope you have learned something today. I have learned a lot from teaching this. Like I said, as a traveler and as a map maker, I'll come back again and look at the prints on the map so I can take down notes for myself too. I am not an expert. I am not a coach. I am not a mentor. I'm a student of life, learning this parenting thing and trying to get better at the day. It's okay to judge me for my inadequacies or for my rumblings or for my shortcomings. I am good with some of them. Some of them are a work in progress. Some I've made peace with, and I'm okay with, right? And I like I have said before, instead of fixating on what to refuse, lose it or pick what to use, right? I'll leave you with a quote by Zig Ziglar. It is not how far you fail, but how high you bounce back that counts. If you say this as a mantra to your children over time, it'll become a positive voice in their heads for when they are failing. It is not how far you fall, rather, it is how high you bounce back, how high you bounce that counts. You see, it takes a resilient parent to raise a resilient child. So when you want to raise a resilient kid, be sure that you're resilient yourself. This means that whatever I've taught today here can apply to you too, and you can begin to apply those to your life. Like this video, comment constructively, share with that person you've been judging or that person you want to get better. And of course, thank you so much for always being a wonderful part, for watching our videos to the end, for everything you do to make the brand better. Until we meet again in yet another insightful episode of the Laurie Brand Podcast, stay excellent.